This presentation was inspired by Lou Giglio's podcast about DNA called We Are Wonderfully Made. What is DNA? Or better question, what does DNA mean to you? We hear about DNA when we watch TV shows like CSI, where they're always using DNA to prove who committed a crime. Or we'll hear about DNA being used in court to prove somebody either guilty or innocent. It's kind of like the modern day fingerprint. But it is more like a blueprint that has all the information to build us. DNA is the code that has the genetic makeup of us. DNA is found in the nucleus of each of our cells. Just consider how each of us is a product of a single cell from our father and a single cell from our mother, which united to form a complete and new, unique individual. 23 chromosomes from our mother and 23 chromosomes from our father unite to form a unique cell that never existed before. There is only one you, and no one has the same DNA other than identical twins. This is truly amazing. Whenever cells divide to replicate, they duplicate their entire DNA code so that every cell retains a full copy of that DNA. The only cells in our body that don't have the entire DNA code are the reproductive male and female cells that have only 23 chromosomes each, thus only half the DNA code. Consider also that at conception, a single cell of 46 chromosomes then set out to build the model which makes up the 75 to 100 trillion cells in our bodies. And every single one of those instructions needs to be perfectly followed, otherwise we wouldn't work. Consider blueprints of the space shuttle that has a missing something in some instructions. And that is less complicated and has less parts than our body. This would be you at 24 hours old. This is you at 6 days, 16 cells on the tip of a pen. They will go on to become all the different kinds of cells that make up our entire body, from our fingernails to our toes to our hair. And every one of those cells is constantly renewing and replacing themselves. About 50,000 cells every 3 seconds of every day of our life. No wonder we're so tired all the time. I mentioned that we have 75 to 100 trillion cells in our body. When you start talking about numbers this large, it is hard to picture big numbers without something to compare them to. So let's look at time in seconds. 1,000,000 seconds ago, 12 days ago. 1,000,000,000 seconds ago, 32 years ago. 1,000,000,000,000 seconds ago, 29,500 BC. And 100 trillion seconds ago, 3,100,000 years ago. And all that DNA has a copy. It is hard to fathom that the amount of DNA information in one human cell is roughly equivalent to a 4,000 book library. This is a complex code that has over 3 billion characters. In that DNA, there is so much information that if you read out one character every second of every moment of every day, it would take you 96 years just to read your DNA code in one cell. You better get started. You're going to be an old man by the time you're done. How long is this DNA strand? It turns out that it's about 2 millimeters in length. That is about the height of Michael Jordan. There is enough DNA code in your body to go to the moon and back 188,000 times. That's just amazing. Yet there is their actual size, which is 2 millionths of a millimeter thick. A teaspoon of DNA could contain all the information needed to build all the proteins of all the species of organisms that have ever lived on the earth. That's over 300 million species. Yet there would still be enough room left over to put all the information in every book written by man. Approximately 2 grams of DNA could hold all the digital stored information in the world on every computer. We all share about 99.9% of the same DNA. It's only that 0.1% that makes us different and unique from everyone else. So when you think about DNA, think about how it is the blueprint of life and that it is a lot more to it than a fingerprint. Do not let anyone tell you that you're not special.